Now this is a continuation of our new video series. Welcome back to Phone Look At. So, did you know that you could actually fix your headsets, earphones, or headphones? Now, by simply using a lighter, surgical blade, threads, and super glue. No more buying earphones, headsets, headphones, and AirPods. Simply repair your dead AirPods, headphones, headsets, and earphones at home at no cost. This is episode 3, the speaker, that is the earphone speaker. They are here. Actually, this is how it looks when it's outside these things. This is how it looks like. So for the sake of our video, we are going to use this as a scaled up model of that, and then later on we shall come back to how this looks like. I actually will use a loudspeaker as a scaled up model of the earphone speaker for visibility's sake. I will teach you the loudspeaker the way I learned it. First, I encountered it in my infant years, tinkered with it a bit, got to break it apart before I even understood the physics, and strove to find out how the thing actually did work. That is how I'm going to structure today's tutorial. So this is a speaker, and let's tear it down to see how actually it looks like. I hope I'll be shrewd with that. Let me just put this aside. Okay, so when you look at the speaker, this is how it looks like. I think let me just give you a bit of an illustration of how this would actually work. So let me connect my wire 1 to the positive right there. I'm hoping this speaker still functions. Another to the negative. Now let me get a battery and just do a test on this, but let me first flip it upside up. So I have failed to get my battery, so let's just proceed to tear down these earphone speakers. Of course, that's not how they are, but in this situation, this is how we are going to demonstrate it using this loudspeaker for our radio system, that is from a woofer system. Now, right now, what I am going to do is just disconnect those wires and then bring this into frame. So now to tear apart the speaker, I think I have to first soften that glue right there. If you can look with me right here, you will notice that this loudspeaker sort of has some 2 wires coming right there. I don't know, I think you can see that's one of them, and that's the second one coming to this. So the first thing is I'm going to desolder this from that. In other words, set this free and set that free by using a soldering iron. And then after doing that, I am going to unglue this piece of cone right here, pepper cone. Let me get my soldering iron heated up and then come. And this is my soldering iron, and I believe it has heated up. Now let's turn this right like that. So we are going to disconnect this. So let me just put the tweezers right there. We are actually breaking this down because this is how I dealt with it as a kid. I first broke this down. It intrigued me. So let me just desolder this off. Okay, that one is out. Now come to this side. Okay, that's also off. Okay, now that it is off, I can disconnect my soldering iron from power. Soldering iron disconnected, and these 2 terminals right there, when you look at them, these terminals actually seem to be going inside right there. I don't know whether you see it run in right there to that gap. I don't know whether you see them. This and that are running down to that side. So right now that we have disconnected this, so the next thing is I am going to unglue that out of this metal frame. I'm going to use some solvent right there. this tends to dissolve rubber glue, which I believe was used to glue this onto the frame of the speaker. So let me get a piece of cloth, dip that in. Then now we have the dilemma of having to soak that. Challenge is that it is paper. It's going to suck out all my solvent. Anyways, we'll be fine. I'm actually hoping this video doesn't end up being so long, but I think what I'll do is, for one, apply the adhesive there. Actually, adhesive softener, not adhesive softener. Let me get something that I can use to try to pry this apart. So let's try to separate this and see if our adhesive softener has worked. Let me come back. Actually, this is what I needed, a knife. So let me get in right there. Okay, it's okay. Since we are breaking this down, we're actually literally tearing it down. So what I wanted to do is remove circular piece of restraint. It has overly weakened, and it's just having no form anymore. So let's move around and remove it. Okay, so this is out, and I will call this a restraint. This right here, let's call it the surround. This dome, this round carved outward thing, it's the surround, and then this is the diaphragm. Let's call it the cone, as other people like to call it. Now we are going to unglue the surround from this frame and see what is underneath it. Now that let's put this aside. I've put that aside. So the next thing is to get this also out of place. Yeah, it's not easy, seeing that we really want to keep it intact. Okay, we just want to politely get in between. Like that. We're going around. So this surround is also almost like a suspension of sorts for the cone, but I do not know why it's called the surround. At the time, I actually didn't know it's called the surround. Okay, we've really gone around it. I think we about to reach the starting point. Okay, and that's out. So when we look underneath there, right there, I think you can see that waved brown looking thing. It's also glued onto the lower part of the frame. We'll need to also unglue that. Let me get my solvent again. Pour myself some, apply some right there. We're actually tearing down the speaker for the sake of showing you how it actually looks before we get into learning all the parts of it and their roles. I know this knowledge. You may be wondering, how does this help me? But then again, if you're going to fix any problem, I had a feeling that you should be able to at least know what's happening in the background, at least on the surface of it, such that when you're repairing, there's a lot of intuition going around, and that should always ensure that you are well equipped for any situation that comes along. Okay, now that I've applied some adhesive softener in there, let me allow it to take its course of action and come back. Okay, now that we are back, let's try to get in there and try to get that out, moving around it. Don't know whether you're able to see, but I hope you are. Okay, that adhesive dissolver actually does a good job, I have noticed, mostly for that lower rigged shaped thing. And actually that rigged shaped thing is actually called a suspension. This is how the setup is looking like, and from the sides that's how it looks like. The bottom side, that's how it looks like. We called this the surround. It surrounds the cone and helps suspend the cone. This right here is called the suspension. It sort of helps suspend this. It also helps in dampening and always keeping this at rest. So that's that. And then this is a voice coil. That's a coil. Okay, for the sake of this video, let me also pick that out. So I'm applying that there. I want to remove this dome shaped thing such that we really get the essence of how the thing really looks when we have broken it apart almost completely. So I think that should soften that adhesive. Okay, so this is just what you see right there, simply covering that hole. Okay, let's go further. Now that these are out, now for this I am going to use another smaller one. Look at those two are similar right there in construction, and therefore a perfect representation of each other. Now let's use this to help see what is actually right there. First of all, this right here seems to be a piece of metal, which when you use a lot of force can get ripped out. Okay, now this breaks into that and that and that. Yeah, we could look at it in that manner. So we have the cone diaphragm suspension. This is the frame. That's a metal core. I failed to split this from that, but this is a magnet. Let me try to split this and see. You have that put right there. This is simply an iron core. There is nothing, it's nothing about it. It's just a piece of iron core. And then this right here is a magnet, synonymous to that. That first one is that one right there, you're seeing right there. That's the first one. Actually, let me hold it this way. Now this black thing is this, that's the magnet, and if you look at it, it attracts things. I don't know whether I can demonstrate that well enough. Okay, see, it's pulling that piece. Okay, this cannot pull that, this pulls it. So this is the magnet, and this at times retains some bit of magnetism to itself. So like I was telling you, this right there is the frame, and that's the frame. As you may see it, that's the frame. You can see it right there. Yeah, that's frame. This is that. Now this right here that you see is just a piece of iron core, which is this. It comes right in there, right there. And then this that you see is the magnet, and we have the magnet right there. It sits onto that piece like that. And then this other pole core is this one, so it comes and sits right in there like that to give you what you have right there. So this also helps to demonstrate that this piece that creates the magnet poles is one unit, and then this is a frame to just come and anchor here such that we can mount the cone onto it. So that frame helps us mount the cone right there, and also to suspend the voice coil, and then the cover. So if we were to draw this speaker from the cross-sectional side, how do you think it would look like? Let me first get my pen, and we are going to cut it cut through it around like that and see how it should look like.